name is Michelle Laydenson, and today I'll be explaining one way you can track temperature screenings within Jackrabbit using the skills feature. I've recorded this video using one of the Jackrabbit training databases. This particular one is for Jackrabbit Dance, but what I'm explaining to you today would also work for swim or class or any of the other Jackrabbit components. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to be doing is adding some new skills to the database. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and go to Student, Skills and Levels. And what we're going to be doing is importing skills and levels. And I've gone ahead and created the spreadsheet that you'll be importing. And at the end of this video, I will show you how to manipulate that spreadsheet for those of you who have Excel. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to load everything that's in the spreadsheet. And you can always edit later. All right, so we're going to go ahead and import skills and levels. As you can see, there is a way to import skills using a spreadsheet. And that is what I have taken advantage of to create the system that I'm demoing here. All right, so we can go ahead and browse to the file. Now, this file name was obviously one I created for the purpose of this video. The actual file you will find either in the description, if this is a YouTube video that you found, or within the blog or help file that you found this link in. All right, go ahead and open this up. I'm going to import it. Now what you've added is a skill category called Temp Check and skills that consists of one skill for every day of the week. And I have preloaded 16 sub-skills, one for each of the next 16 weeks. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you how to go ahead and set it up so it doesn't load all 16 at once. Now, if you notice, this did go ahead and load in alphabetical order, which is not necessarily the most helpful way to view things. So we're going to go ahead and take advantage of this order column over here at the end and reorder this. Go ahead and start with Sunday as 1, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And by putting in the order, it will sort it in that order rather than alphabetically. Now, you may have existing skills. This will not change anything about your existing skills. They'll leave those unaltered. Go ahead and save our changes. So what we have done now, if we go ahead and go back to student skills levels, you'll see that they're now in the order we specified, which is going to make things a little bit easier as we progress through. So now the next thing to do is we need to assign the skills to the appropriate class. To do that, we're going to go ahead and go to Students, Skills Levels, Add to Classes. Now remember, if you don't see these options, that means that you do not have permissions set to view things related to skills and levels. And that is something that the person who's in charge of your database for your company can add to your login. So we're going to go ahead and click Skills Levels, Add to Classes. So what we're going to do is first we're going to go ahead and I am going to do these in order. So I'm going to start with Monday. Put Monday at the beginning, not Sunday, that's fine. So go ahead and put in Monday. Now, I only have 16 classes in this database. If you have more than 16, be aware there may be a view all. Now, there's a couple different ways to do this. for those of you who have the day of the week in the class title, which I believe Jackrabbit does recommend, you can kind of view this here. So I'm going to go ahead and click all the classes that it says meet on Monday. And if you notice, as I click, it's adding them to the bottom there. It is also highlighting them. So I've got, I can go ahead and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Should be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So numbers match. So I'm going to go ahead and save my changes. Now, in this case, because not every student is going to be there every day for their temper check, I do not want to add them to the individual student. I want this to remain a class level item. Now, for those of you where almost everyone's returning and everyone's back in, you may want to do yes here, but for the majority of situations, it's probably going to be a no. So we've added the class to 9 times. Now you're going to repeat this for each of the days of the week. And for those of you who don't use a particular temperature check because you're not open on that day of the week, you can actually go ahead back to skills and levels. And you can actually, in fact, delete the one for the day of the week where you're never going to be open. Just remember that you might need to do temperature checks for private lessons. And if those sometimes happen on Sundays, you probably do want to leave that alone. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and add it to all my classes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my staff portal and we can take a look. Alright, I've gone ahead and opened up the staff portal. Now, for the purposes of this video, I have opened it up on a computer, so it's going to be a little bit more horizontal than the typical format that you might see on a phone, but all the information is going to be the same. It's going to say hi and then the name of the staff. It'll give the department news. Don't forget that announcing new policies such as how to do temperature checks is a perfect thing to put in the staff or department news section. Alright, so we've gone ahead and clicked on Manage Classes. This is showing me today's class, which is only Saturday. Don't forget, for those of you who have your staff set so they can view all classes meeting that day, they don't have to be an instructor to view it if you have that option set, and if you don't, they will, and we'll go over that in a moment. So I've gone ahead and pulled up the staff portal. I have skills and levels turned on. And since I've added the skill that we just uploaded to this class, I can go ahead and click Skills and Levels. So this is what your teachers will see. Now, if you have existing skills, they will show up in this list as well. But if you do not, it will just have the new one we've added. So to do your temperature check recordings, you're going to click the blue temperature check Saturday. That's because, and if it's not a Saturday, it's going to show the day of the week. That's why we listed them by day of the week. And if it's a class that meets 3 times a week, it will actually have 3 things: temperature check Monday, temperature check Wednesday, and temperature check Friday. All right, so it's going to go ahead and pull up the update skills levels temperature check Saturdays. Now it's listing every single day that we've loaded for which we wanted to check temperature, but we only want to take today's. So your staff's going to go ahead and So your staff's going to go in and click from the sub skills today's date, and that pulls up just the temperature checks for the day in question, and it allows them to just click started, tested, and attained. Now, it's up to you how you want to use these categories, but the logical thing in terms of what the parents are looking at is probably attained means they passed. They passed, You can go ahead and hit save. All right, so that's how it's going to look. Give me a moment and I'm going to go ahead and pull it up how it would look for a multi-student class. All right, here we have this class schedule for Monday, the 18th. And I'm going to go ahead and select a class. Now, if you scroll through here, you'll notice one of these classes actually has a makeup student, and I'm going to pick that one just so you see that how it would work when you have a student who's scheduled to be in that class through the system as a makeup student. So once again, we're going to go ahead and click Skills and Levels. It will pull up everyone who's scheduled to be there. This does include our one makeup student. Once again, we're going to click the blue section of temperature check and select the date of the class and go ahead and mark them as attained. All 3 kids were there and all 3 had their temperature checks. We're going to go ahead and save them. Okay, now that we've seen how the instructors will record the temperature screenings, let's go ahead and see how it's going to look from the database side. So I've gone ahead and pulled up all the Monday classes. Let's go ahead and pick one of the classes and take a look at what's going on there. I'm going to pick this class, the TAP Beginner, on Mondays. And the skills information is going to be over here in the skills tab for the class. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the sub-skill that corresponds to the day that I'm interested in, which is 5/18. And when you click on it, it shows you the students, whether or not they've attained the skill, which in this case means passed your health screening. So this is going to display the information that the teachers entered through the staff portal. And just want to make a note of something here. The teachers, when they took Megan's temperature, she was tested, but she did not pass. And they left us a note. The note was slight fever, sent home. And you click on the notes in the staff portal, by the way, by just clicking on the icon that looks like a piece of paper. And then you can type in some information. So in this case, we know that 2 of the students passed their screenings and Megan did not. As you get more familiar with skills, you can work with the started versus tested and attained. You may also be able to work with the due dates. That may be something for those of you that have larger things. That may be something that those of you with larger programs may be able to take advantage of. All right, so now to gather a report or printout or some documentation that these have been done. To do that, we're going to go to Classes, Class Skills Levels Report. Now I've gone ahead and saved a favorite for this specific thing called TempChecks. Go ahead and load that. A couple things to note. If you have multiple sessions and you've differentiated which are the in-person versus online, you'll want to go ahead and select the ones that are in person. Otherwise, just leave it with your standard search. You want to select the day of the week you're interested in. Remember, we're tracking the temperature screenings by a skill that's related to the day of the week. So go ahead and select the day that you want to report on. You can also select by room. If you've noticed that one of the staff was not quite so diligent about recording things, you can select by room. Since there is no option in this particular search to select by time. There is, however, an option to select by the primary instructor. Okay, we're going to do a skills worksheet. you will need, each time you run this report, to make sure you include the day for which you are interested in. All skill status. Now, I'm going to go ahead and point out some of these. You definitely want to include makeups. If you do not include makeups, then a student who was there not on their assigned day will not be included in the report, even if they were in the building. All enroll types. And you want to include skills without a date started, unless you're being very diligent about marking the temperature screenings for the whole day as being started. So just to make sure you don't miss anyone, I do recommend you include skills without a date started. And you can either sort by instructor or by time. For health reporting reasons, probably this class time sort. For internal cross-checking reasons, probably the instructor sort. All right, so you can go ahead and hit submit. This does default to print, so you'll need to go ahead and turn off your printer. And what you see here is it'll give us a report of which students were there, which ones were checked, their temperature screening. Now, Megan was sent home. It does not give the note in this particular report, but it does also not include that she had successfully passed. Now, a couple things to note here is Jean here was a makeup student that day, and it actually does let you know that he or she was a makeup student. So here we've got some documentation that you've been doing your temperature checks, and this is something that you can save and keep for future, as well as run it for whatever date you're interested in at a later point. So that's how you get the information out. Now, if you are in a situation where you do need to run a report on a specific date, you may want to consider including the date in the actual skill rather than leaving it as a sub-skill. Jackrabbit does have a little bit more nuanced ways to search for things when it's a skill rather than a sub-skill. And so that kind of covers how things work in Jackrabbit. Just a quick review. You can start by going to Skills and Levels, importing the skills, adjusting the order if you need to, and also if you need to go ahead and delete some dates that aren't relevant, you can go ahead and do that as part of the initial import. Go ahead and be sure to add the skills to the class. So once they're imported, you would select the skill up here and the class down here at the bottom. And then to get your report, you're going to go ahead and do the class skills level report that I just showed you. And that report is also available through the report menu. And there you can also go ahead and make it a favorite. And that's the same one that I showed you before. And do be sure to save the report with the things I specified as a favorite. And one last thing, I'm going to go ahead and go over some options for those of you that do have Excel in terms of prepping the file before it is uploaded into Jackrabbit. Here we have the file. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Jackrabbit Skills import, it has a couple notable rules. Each sub-skill has to be an exact match to the skill, and they are case sensitive. So the file that I've created has temp check as a category, which enable you to identify and search for the temp check at a later time. And it has sub-skills for dates through the first week of September. Now, for those of you who are coming to this and who only need things, say, from mid-June. A couple things you can do in Excel if you go to conditional formatting. Now, your Excel could look a little different, but conditional formatting will be included. And we go ahead and select the sub-skill column, conditional formatting, and we want to know which times are prior to, say, 6/15, if that's the date you're going to open. And mark in red the fields that are before the date. And once you find them, you can just go ahead and delete them. There's a right click and then delete. Not have Excel. This step is not needed. I hope you found this video helpful, and good luck.